The police in the book, their reaction's quite shocking. Is this an issue you think the authorities need to take women's issues more seriously?
Yeah, I would say so. I think that the police have come a long way, but the problem is that as the recent arguments that have been raging over the whole concept of rape and what constitutes rape that Kenneth Clark waded into with his big feet, I don't think women's issues are taken seriously enough. I mean, I'm always saying this, that you've got right from the pay gap right the way down to little things like the sort of, should a woman be able to wear what she wants? I know that's not a little thing for women, but for me as a person, I don't see what the big issue is if a young woman is walking around wearing one thing or another. For a lot of people that's a problem. All of this, I think, is entwined just in the fact that as a society, women still don't have equal rights, and within the British Asian community, I think that's probably double. So yeah, it's something I think about quite a lot. It's something that I have a teenage daughter, well, tween age. She's going to be 11. She may as well be a teenager though. You know, my wife went through a very, very difficult first marriage, and a lot of her family didn't talk to her because she ended up divorcing, you know, this guy that wasn't being particularly nice to her. So it's something I think about a lot. But I think on the whole, I don't think women are represented well enough in society, and I don't think the police, despite the big steps they've taken, I still don't think they do enough. I don't think they take it seriously enough. So.
And SAT goes to the media to sort of raise the issue. Do you think that a lot of the responsibility or the way that things will hopefully change lies with the media?
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the things I wanted to put in was his use of social networking sites to try and find out, you know, and the fact that the younger reporter uses the internet to find out everything about these characters within sort of, you know, 24 hours, and he's like, how'd you do that? And she's like, well, you just Google them.
Facebook, yeah.
Yeah, you know, or Facebook them, and, you know, look at their friends if they've not been clever enough to do it secretly, you know, put a kind of a lock on it. Yeah, I wanted to, I don't know, Sat is basically supposed to be sort of here, and his brother, for example, they're kind of the same generation, but there's a difference in attitude. Sat's more willing to, he's more like a modern British teenager, so he's willing to use the media, willing to use social media, willing to use the internet, whereas his brother is just interested in making, like, you know, £2.50 on a packet of, like, tea, you know, at his shop. He's interested in making money, he's interested in profit margins, and Sat was always going to do that because he's media savvy, and I think that lots of young people today are. If you speak to young people today, I mean, you go on Facebook, look how many campaigns are started by young people.
Yeah.
I didn't have that in the 1980s when I was at school, but, you know, I speak to year 9s now, and they're going, yeah, you know, we set up a campaign to raise money for this or that, and sadly, a lot of it's around raising money for activities outside of school as well, because the money's just not there. But I think most young people, as you know, are very media savvy.
Online.
Yeah, and I wanted to work that in, so.
And it's quite a dark, shocking issue in the book for young adult literature, but do you think this is something young adult novels shouldn't shy away from? Sort of approaching darker...
Yeah, anybody that knows me is going to know exactly how I'm going to answer this question. Yeah, I don't think we should shy away from anything, either as writers or readers, and I don't think that applies only to the young adult market, it applies to the adult market too. But I've been told many times by various people that the stuff I write is too hard-hitting, it's too explicit, there's too much bad language, and I go and spend half an hour in a school, a regular secondary school somewhere in the UK anywhere, and the characters I write about come up and say hello, and, you know, you talk to them, which I do, I meet thousands of them every year, and they like those kinds of stories, the stories that are being held back, and there's this problem we have where we say young people don't read enough, and then a young person picks up a book and an adult comes along and goes, well, you can't read that. That's not, you know, like, which one is it? It's either good to read or it isn't. And if it's good to read, surely you can read what you like. And my argument's always been you should be able to read a wide and varied range of things as a teenager and young adult. And unfortunately, I still don't think we're anywhere near where we should be in terms of representing real British teenagers. Not enough. So, yeah, you know, the more the better, I think. The more harder it is, the better, I think, things will be, because young people go through issues, adults go through issues, and if you just stick your head in the sand and, you know, what are we going to be writing about? Fairies. You know, we'll write about fairies and wizards, so there's nothing wrong with that, it's fantastic, but there's a massive, like, sort of population we have in this country who are not being represented, and, you know, why should they read if they're not on the books? And that's something I've always thought about. So, you know, Sat comes from a background, a set of characters, and his friends, all of them, aren't normally represented in books, and that's what I try to do, is to put them in and make the people that read them, who go to that school, because the college they're in is real. They can pick it up and go, right, that Greg's where he eats the sausage roll and it's too hot and he spits it everywhere when he's trying to impress this girl, that's real, that's just there, and you know, they can kind of relate to the stories. And yeah, I don't know, I don't think we're hard hitting enough. I think we should go further, push the boundaries further.
No, I think they can handle it, definitely.
I'll tell you what, I wrote a story called Angel Collector. I went into a girls' school in Bolton, and I'm reading from it, and there's a girl at the back, I'm thinking, oh, she's not interested, but she wasn't, you know, winding me up or anything. And at the end of it, it's quite a grim book. At the end of it, because there's a serial killer that collects the heads of teenage girls, she comes up at the end and she's drawn me a sketch, and the sketch is of a girl having a head chopped off. You know, and you look at it, and I'm going, oh my God, I think she was a year 9, and I'm like, you know,
yep.
so...
You can definitely handle it.
Yeah.
And what advice would you give to teens that there's an issue that they're fiercely passionate about, how to channel it into a novel?
How to channel their own?
Yeah, what kind of writing advice would you give them?
I always give, I mean, for all writers who haven't sort of started writing particularly seriously, I just think that the two most important things are, one, you need to read a lot. You know, if you're interested in writing horror, you need to go and read a load of horror stories, you know. The second part of this is you've got to practice. I meet lots of writers who say, I want to be a writer. When did you last write something? Oh, I haven't got time. You know, that doesn't work. If you want to be a writer, you've got to do it. If you particularly feel passionate about something, I think you should stick to your guns and you should go with it. You may not write a masterpiece, it may not get published, but the point is that writing for me has always been cathartic. I've been writing since I was young, and when I wasn't a published author, I was still a writer, and I was getting lots and lots of quite kind of deep feelings, emotions that I felt were deep and important off my chest by writing about them. And I think that side of it is very much underrated. You know, this whole idea of, you know, the keeping a diary. The reason kids love, young kids like my daughter love things like Diary of a Wimpy Kid so much is because the kid's telling us his feelings in the diary, and it's kind of important. And I don't know, there are so many reasons why people should write. I think we should have more young writers. I'd love to get to a point in 10 years' time where nobody's interested in my writing, because there's lots of 25-year-olds and 24-year-olds and 20-year-olds and 18-year-olds who are writing about themselves. So go for it is the best bit of advice, I think.
Thank you very much, Bali.
It's okay.